Connor, and this is my informative essay for Flex CTA 103. Today we're going to be going over the old fashioned and how to make one at your home bar. A little bit about myself: I spent 2 years bartending in the city of Milwaukee, and I've seen the drink made dozens of different ways and probably ordered hundreds of times in those ways. But for the purpose of this informative essay, I want to break down what is expected when someone just orders a standard old fashioned. So by doing this, I'll be going over the history of the old fashioned, its evolution, and how to prepare one in the modern sense. So starting off first with the history here, the old fashioned in the earliest kind of ways that we've seen it described as an old fashioned comes back from the 1870s, when American bartending really took off in the cities and simple syrups were being added and all kinds of flavors and such. And people out in the West wanted a more traditional cocktail before kind of the revival of drinking kind of started. And that was usually done by removing simple syrups completely out of the equation and sticking with more traditional bitters and sugar cube route. This worked great back then because it made things shelf stable, so you wouldn't have to kind of bulk up and throw away waste and such. And we also saw that it was not served with an orange, but with a lemon peel. Then moving forward to the 1950s in the Mad Men era, taste kind of got sweeter, and that slowly faded away, and we saw a more supper club kind of take on it, in which we got rid of just the ice cube and lemon wedge, and we replaced it with a full orange wedge and maraschino cherries, which you would then muddle in the glass and give it a very sweet texture. But for the more modern sense, it's a little bit in between of both. So moving on to what you will need to prepare a old fashioned is not too much. You simply need a glass, a jigger if you so choose to use one. It's optional. It just gives you a proper pour, and then also something to stir it with. So moving on for ingredients here, we are going to do 2 dashes of Anastor bitters, which if you buy bitters anywhere, it just comes right out just like that, 2 dashes. And then we'll be moving on to simple syrup. I'm going to be using Demerara simple syrup. It's just an at-home recipe I make that just makes simple sugar last forever, so I don't have to buy so much. But you're going to do about 1/4 ounce of that, and then you're going to add your ice. I am just going to do kind of these semicircle ice cubes that I have right here, just so it looks a little bit nicer. And then after that, you want to add your spirit. Traditional old fashions usually call for whiskey, but in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin old fashioned is generally served with brandy. But here we're just going to do exactly 2 ounce pour, and you're going to throw that in right there. And then you're just going to go ahead and stir. There's really no long way to do this. You just stir it a couple times. And then you want to do a proper garnish after such, which for here is just going to be that traditional orange wedge. Put that in, and you have made an old fashioned. Should not have made this at 9 a.m.